Now, you were starting in on some stats about trans people, right?
Yes.
Brandon Morse
used to work here at The Blaze. He wrote this article at RedState. And just some fun facts in here. In 2021, as we mentioned, only 2 murders of transgender people were being investigated. Well, I don't know how these turned out, as a hate crime. Out of the 44 transgender deaths that year, as listed by the Human Rights Campaign itself.
Now, you would have thought, to listen to the Human Rights Campaign, that thousands or millions of trans had been abused or beaten or killed in the streets. You're saying 2 were in a hateful way because it was anti-trans stuff. The Human Rights Campaign admitted that up to 74% of the transgender murders that took place since 2013 were committed by a friend or intimate partner. Wow.
Okay. So 1.6 million adults and youth identify as transgender. According to the Human Rights Campaign, 32 transgender people were killed in the United States in 2022.
So it actually went down quite a bit last year.
Out of 1.6 million who identify, 32 were murdered. If you consider, this is Brandon Morse writing, if you consider the numbers, the transgender people murdered in the United States equals out to 0.002% of the population, making them one of the least murdered people in the country. But wait, there's more, Brandon writes. According to a report from analysis in the UK that tracked their violent crime, the numbers taken between 2007 and 2017 found that transgender people were 58% more likely to murder than be murdered. And he finishes up with this thought.
Wow. These kind of seen that play out, too, right? I mean, look at the violence they've perpetrated on people lately.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff in here, and we'll post this. I'll post this here as soon as I get done. Here's the last paragraph as he sums it up. These aren't the good guys. These are activists. These activists are liars who self-victimize themselves with shameless and obvious falsehoods to exert some sort of power over the people. They want to feel like they're on the right side of history and fighting for some sort of human rights crusade, but all they are domestic terrorists, demonically killing children and demanding you kneel before them. Amen.
Well put.
Brandon Morse, good job.
Let me just say, though, trans rights are human rights. If I could just throw that in.
Okay.
Trans rights
That's good.
are human rights.
That's good stuff.
Okay. It's a powerful statement, is it not?
I mean, write it down, y'all.
Yeah,
write it down. Here.
And deal with it. In the U.S. Navy, the leaders are telling parents they aren't in charge of gender-related decisions with their children.
Be able to help you. But then there are parents that don't want to hear it. They're very closed-minded. And they don't want to hear it. And that's why they keep those secrets.
That's why kids keep those secrets.
And that's why we have teenage suicides.
Oh, that's why you have teenage
So you're saying that you're the minor child, someone who can't consent to anything, who's not a legal adult, you're saying that minor child, they have, and the medical, quote-unquote medical professional has more rights than the parent over that child. That's the Navy's policy.
I would encourage you to talk to your child.
That's not what I asked you, ma'am. I'm asking you.
Nice.
According to this policy.
Good.
Again, policy.
Again.
I'm not accusing you, ma'am. I'm simply calling out the Navy that the policy gives more rights or circumvents a parent's rights to know, is what you're saying. That's the Navy's official policy.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. There you go.
Oh, my gosh.
That is
Any other questions?
Any other questions here at the U.S. Navy?
Yes, that is their policy. That a medical professional has more rights than the child's parents, who essentially have none. They have no right.
And that's
how did we get here?
That's not a seminar at a woke company. That's not a DEI session. That is your United States Navy.
Wow.
Feeling safe, y'all?
Man. Then there's this member of the Navy explaining life on a ship. Should be interesting.
Okay.
And I was able to deploy on the USS Gerald R. Ford last fall, and the coolest thing I did on board was to be able to participate in a LGBTQ spoken word night, and I was able to read a poem that I wrote to the whole ship, and that was probably the culmination of the whole deployment.
The whole deployment. That's a culmination right there.
Okay. All right. Good.
Good. This is working out great.
Good. No,
for America.
It's going really well. Mm-hmm. What would you change? You wouldn't change anything, would you?
Oh, meanwhile, the Chinese defense minister was sitting down over the weekend with Vladimir Putin in Moscow.
Yeah.
And we are.
Were they discussing trans rights?
Well, they were
Or human
reading
rights?
each other poems that they wrote.
Oh, good. Okay, good. So they're
about
doing the same thing we are.
Being LGBT. We're in hell. I mean, this is not going to end well.